Me in the chat, we taking on the fight. Windows computer issues, we gonna make it right. Got that brilliant tech advice, 6 day a week. Yeah, we gonna help solve it all. No need to do it nice.
Thursday, May 16th, 2024. Welcome everybody. Good morning. It's 9 o'clock. I have audio confirmation. And I see that SpeakerBot went and did his thing. I will turn off the repeats and enable desktop application audio. So, there we go. I got some follow-ups to do from a couple of days ago.
Said, hey, Doug.
Hello, Tim. See, that's much better. You're not asking me a question there. Thank you. You let me off the hook.
John Williams said, greetings, Doug.
John Williams, number 2 today. Tim beat you to it. Unless you already tried. It didn't come through. No, it's there. All right. I'm feeling a little transparent today, right? I have some things to follow up on from my chat notes from a couple days ago. Oh, but first there's actually a email from Sam Luce that we responded to him on Saturday. It was the BCD question, boot configuration data, that we talked about. It says, thank you for coming back to me and with so much information. It certainly appears to be old entries from the drive that was previously removed. Glad to have a bit of closure on this and to know it's not an issue if I come across it in the future. I saw you found my YouTube account too, Islander Jer. So when you see Islander Jer, you can make the connection that is Sam Luce and say, hey, I remember you. You're the BCD guy. As it appears, guy? Yeah, Sam guy. Well, Samuel, that'd be male. As it appears, I can now chat during live streams. Thanks again. I don't, has he shown up in chat and I didn't make the connection? Maybe. He can now chat, doesn't actually mean he did chat. Are you out there, Sam, right now? Let's see. Oh, and I realized when I read this, I referred to that BCD as a data file, but I don't think I ever actually described that. BCD stands for, if I remember, boot configuration data, being a data file. And it also occurred to me that the drive that said it was not found or not present might have been from making an image backup on another drive and then restoring it to the new drive. And I think he was swapping drives at the time. So that would be certainly condition if there's anyone else out there that has done a image backup from one drive, restored it to a new drive. If you go look at that BCD edit file, you might find that there's some unknown drives in there too, because those drives are no longer present, unless they are still present in your system. Then let's come back to here. And before I go follow up on prior chats, I'll go say hello to people in chat this morning, see if there's any questions, because that's what we really want to give priority to, questions coming in live during the chat. Dennis gets a link to his Fortnite premiere. Carl, hello. Darren, hello. John Williams. Awesome Lady Gaga tune for the trader this morning. He says, thanks, Doug. All right, cute little story. Yesterday, I played Beat Saber. It's the first time in a long time. It's been ignored, and I recorded it. So I figured, well, I'll put in some new Lady Gaga tunes. So I did 3 Lady Gaga Beat Saber gameplays. But because it had been so long, I did it wrong. When I went to play back and look at the recording, it was just a recording of me and the hand controls. I did not capture the Beat Saber scene. Doug. Martin Hogg, hi everyone. Doug, has anyone told you to sometimes disappear after a few seconds and come back again? Yeah, that was one thing that was happening a lot towards the end of my marriage at the dinner table. No, just kidding. Alice, Tim, hello. Yeah, Tim, my neck is feeling way better now. Thank you, Lord. Good, glad to hear that. Let's see, Talus, Tim, finally healed. Just have sore throat because my allergies. My mom said, unfortunately. Yeah, sore throat from allergies. I get that. Selden Ball, hello. Rick Lakes, speaker bot speaking his thing, doing his thing. Tim likes the new theme. Brian, hello. John, another 25 cents. Jeff Ryman, Nick Poverman, Bobby Warren, hello to y'alls. Rick Lake, Ski Man. I think I said those names already. Selden. BCD also stands for binary coded decimal. Yes, true. If you do go do a Google search, I don't know, you might even find some other things. There's Islander Jer. Hello. Made it to live stream. Thank you for adding me to chat, Sam. Well, let's go give you a promotion. Add as moderator, standard moderator, which means you can put links into chat. I do not ask you to discipline people in the chat room. I like to do that myself. Ken's going to have fun with that. Nice logo. Oh, yeah. There's a new logo there. Ooh, how did that show up in here? Yeah, that shows up okay on there. Yeah. I did that myself. Did not pay for it this time. Thanks for the info about BCD Edit. Yes, thank you for bringing the question to us. We love questions here. Smoke in the air for his allergies from MX, whatever that is. I'd be here dodging. Whoops. I don't know what the rest of that said. I didn't read it quick enough. All right, now I'm going to go to the things from chat room that I didn't get to yesterday. And actually first was about Tim Cruz's neck issue, because I didn't understand. I didn't get this joke until after I read back over it afterwards. Randy Israel saying to Tim, the cure is to remain optimistic. Keep looking forward. Well, I thought that was just encouraging. Look, you'll feel better. But then he says, and if you do look back, do it slowly. He's saying keep looking forward because that's going to be less work on your neck. Ran, am I understanding correctly? This is talking about the IP subnet. So we're going to spend a little time on that here now. Am I understanding correctly? The two IP subnets I was talking about on my client's system on the same physical network with no router in between. Yes, router is not needed between unless you're concerned about security or traffic demands, and that's not our issue. In a large corporate environment, I'm sure that technicians would just be up in arms about not having a router between two IP subnets. No, you don't need it in a small environment when you're not concerned about security between the networks or traffic. Now, at one point there was security concerns for having them on separate IP nets, but everybody can walk up to anybody else's computer. And internally, they pretty much know each other's passwords. That's not a reality in small office environments. So the DHCP servers are two separate networks. That's fine. Now, here's where I was saying some things wrong the other day, and Rand caught that. Because it's connected via WAN port, doesn't offer DHCP service for the WAN side, hence the two networks. So as I was describing this, I was at some point I said there's a Wi-Fi router downstream from the network switch, and that is connected to the WAN port of the Wi-Fi router so that it can give Wi-Fi to the residents in this low-income, elderly, disabled, government-assisted housing, so that they would not be able to get to the office computers. And he's absolutely right about that. That is an isolation. And I was saying that that's the explanation why I seem to see two DHCP servers on the network. Well, there's still something missing in my explanation. I don't have it all. Because the reason why I was saying that there's two or more DHCP routers on this network is because the computers in the office, when there was a power failure, sometimes they would start up and get a IP address on the 192 network, which does not have internet access. So the office computers that got assigned one of those addresses could not get out to the internet. they could not be getting that address from that router that was downstream from the network switch, because that's on a separate Ethernet network. Somehow the computers in the office, through their Ethernet network, were picking up a 192.168 address. And I'm not certain if it was the 192.168.0, or it could have been the .1. But it was happening. So there still has to be a DHCP server somewhere on their Ethernet that I'm not catching. So my next step for that is to use this IP scanner that somebody gave me a link for during that show a couple days ago. I could just connect remotely to one of their computers after hours and see if it'll give me a clue about that that other router. Now, I did, in my testings while I was there, I went to 192.168.0.1 to see if I would get a sign-in screen for a router, and I did. And it was the same make and model as that Wi-Fi router that is downstream from the switch. Now I'm wondering, is it possible that the Ethernet cable that originally, years ago, I connected to the WAN port of that router, has that since been connected to a LAN port on that router? And if so, I think that would make it visible to the computers on the Ethernet network. Oh, fun. And you know what? When I signed into that router from one of the office computers, I think the username and password that I had for that router worked, which means it is that router. What I got to do is get into that closed office and look at it, see what it is. Now, I said there were at least 2 DHCP router servers. Why was I saying that? Well, because I was seeing a third IP subnet, 192.168.1. I suspect that I was seeing that on Wi-Fi devices that were picking up a Wi-Fi signal from that Wi-Fi router, because if it was connected to if that Ethernet cable from the switch in the main office was connected to a LAN port on that, that would make it a DHCP server for any computers that can see it through the local area network or the Wi-Fi. I've even got thoughts in my mind right now. I'm still saying that wrong. I just got to go find out what is the actual truth of this place. Ay, caramba. Oy vey. What was the other one? The one about bendito. Bendito? Something like that. The one that means brother. Oh, brother. What do we have over here? Correction. My explanation about the second DHCP router being the one downstream from the switch is not correct as to why some computers receive the wrong IP address from the DHCP unless it's connected to the LAN port rather than a WAN port. Now, I'm not finished with that topic. I've got pictures. To show you. I don't think it adds any more to the story, just pictures of what I've already explained to you, but I just happen to have my iCloud up and running. So here's that ARP-A. And when I looked at this a couple days ago in preparation for yesterday's show, I realized something else. These 10.1.10 computers that should be the computers in the office, I told you that I've assigned static IP addresses to them because of the problems with them picking up the wrong IP address when a power outage occurs. But then I noticed, now wait a minute, ARP-A says all of these addresses are dynamic. There should be some static addresses in there. These static addresses are that's the broadcast address, I think it is, so that's static for the router. These are other special static addresses. I can't say what their purpose is, but anyway, there's no static addresses here. It's like, what? What's going on? Does ARP-A not identify dynamic versus static addresses correctly? Now, right arrow key to go to my next picture. So here's one of the computers. This was the way this computer, one of the office computers, was configured for static IP. And then, well, down here, I clicked on the advanced button. I described this to you the other day. I don't think I showed you pictures. So in here on the IP settings, so then click add to add a new IP address to this network adapter. So I add the 192.168.0 address, which should pick up the other cameras that are on the accessible through the physical Ethernet network. So then this is the old ARP-A. So then next screen, here's the next ARP-A where it does see the other cameras. And these cameras in sequential numbers, when I first saw these, I thought, oh, these are the ones that were assigned static IP addresses, and these must be the ones that are currently functional. No, these are the cameras that were missing, because the currently functional cameras are on the 10.1.10 network, apparently. Did I ever prove that? I think I did put in some of these addresses in a browser and found that, yeah, they are cameras. But anyway, these were sequential numbers, and they were shown as dynamic. So that's implying that they were assigned sequentially on a DHCP server, which is usually a router, but not always. DHCP server that starts at address 101 and probably goes for 50 or 100 or more. So let's see, I think I have another picture. Yeah, so here's the actual camera view. I looked over these and see that there's nothing identifiable here. Just to give you a little blink at it. And those ones that were not visible were the ones that weren't working at that time. What have we got in chat? Hi, Frosty Winnipeg. Angry IP scanner is an alternative to advanced IP scanner. All right, thank you for that. Personally, I would hard code all the IPs of the cameras and do away with their DHCP server. Yeah, well, the security company told me that all of the cameras are static IP addresses. I don't know. If those ARP-As, I know that some of the computers already have static IP addresses, and they would have been on at the time. So I'm going to have to go check on that and see if ARP-A is not correctly identifying static versus dynamic. Then I'll just say, okay, Microsoft, ARP-A is just old and not up to date. I don't know. Angry, I'm told, always allows for more aggressive interrogation if requires. So the angry IP scanner allows for more aggressive interrogation if it requires. I'm not sure if that's a joke or if he's just saying that it is actually a more aggressive scanner. What I liked about the advanced IP scanner is that you can use it without having to install it. Comes in handy when trying to find devices' IP addresses. Yeah, I tried it on my network here, and yeah, looks interesting. Now, it takes a lot longer to come up with its results than ARP-A, ARP-A. So I still see a use for ARP-A because first of all, you gotta, put in your USB or download it or something, and then it takes a while to do its scan. Islander Jer, I had a rogue DHCP server on a client's network recently, a USB-powered TP-Link. It decided to start handing out IP addresses on the wireless network it was supposed to be piggybacking off of. It decided to start handing out IP addresses on the wireless network it was supposed to be piggybacking off of. So try to understand this. On a client's network recently, a USB-powered, okay, so it wasn't plugged into an AC adapter, TP-Link WR802N, it decided to start handing out IP addresses on the wireless network. So it's a Wi-Fi router, and whatever it had on its WAN port, well, maybe its WAN port was picking up from Wi-Fi. The wireless network, if it was supposed to be piggybacking off a wireless network, then it would be broadcasting out its own DHCP to potentially a separate wireless network, but if you haven't changed the IP subnet, if it's got the same IP subnet as the wireless network that is piggybacking off of, then it is going to compete for that same IP subnet. But then also, does it have a different SSID when people's Wi-Fi devices try to connect to the SSID of the parent wireless network? I think you'll understand what I mean by that. It's not going to pick up an address from this one that's the 802 unless it's claiming to be the same SSID. That would be a problem. I think I've said that right. I use the router to hand out static IP addresses. Well, reserved IP addresses. I don't think it's fair to call them static IP addresses. Based on MAC ID, makes changing IP addresses easier than walking up to each physical device. Yeah, that's correct, as long as your devices are looking to the correct router. But if you have a competing router, your computers out there might not connect to the right router and therefore not get the address that that has been reserved for them. But yeah, that's a nice way to go, and I've done that in many occasions. I've done the reserved addresses when I don't want a device to try to get a new address when there might be a prior address that was already reserved, or maybe if we're doing some kind of peer-to-peer sharing or printer sharing, and we want addresses to remain the same without having to go to the computer and configure the address specifically on the computer. You can put their MAC ID into MAC ID identifier checker, and it will tell you who made the device. Yes, it tells you who made the network adapter. If it's got a PCIe network adapter, it's not going to tell you who made the computer, but rather the adapter. I'm pretty sure I'm saying that correct. Zvi Minor, I check now ARP in mine. I have static IP that's showing in ARP as dynamic. Oh, thank you. Yeah, so Zvi just checked his computer that has a static IP address, and ARP shows it as dynamic. So ARP is just bogus, man. Bogus. Londog giving us a link for TP-Link. A link for TP-Link. Is that redundant or what? WR802N. Is that what that 802N? That doesn't sound like quite. Let's do a search. Find for WR802-N. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, TL. Yeah, it's TP-Link. So that looks like the one that's being talked about. Nano. So this has picks up his WAN from a Wi-Fi, right? So you would want to configure it to broadcast a different SSID and a different IP subnet to keep things clean. Let's see, I already did that. Greg to Zvi, my IP is handed out based on MAC ID and it shows as dynamic. Okay, so that's a reserved address, and it also shows as dynamic. Wireless N is very old, but it's still current, isn't it? It's been around for a long time, but isn't it still a current technology? It was supposed to be in client mode. Yeah, I know there's others that have advanced beyond that, but you still buy Wi-Fi adapters, and they still support wireless N. Islander Jerry, it was supposed to be in client mode where it provides a hardwired connection from I get it. I see. Client mode where it provides a hardwired connection from a wireless network so that you can have physical computers that you want to have an Ethernet connection. So your router picks up from a Wi-Fi, and an Ethernet to your computer. You want that computer to be on the same network as all the other computers so it can talk to them. But I didn't realize the DHCP server would function in this mode. Yeah, you would. Yeah, you'd have to turn off the DHCP function. Yeah, got it. I see the issue, said the blind man to his deaf and dumb wife, who said, I heard that. Where's my... Oh, I know. It's because I have my pictures blown up. That's why I can't see my F11. There we go. Now I can see my tabs. Couldn't find where am I? Where's my Google Chrome? Did not find any shows to redirect to. So the last one that I have here is from Gary Weisenberger. Better to sleep the computer for lunch and power off overnight. Per the IEEE, newer electronics are low power and the shock of starting up is negligible to read. And the shock of startup is negligible. Oh, read this document. So I just did a copy and paste of that, and I'm not sure I got to the right thing because I did a copy and paste of that, a study on battery life. This is for battery powered devices, which, so we were talking about desktop computers. I'm very reluctant to accept a study regarding battery life as advice for desktop computers. So my question to Gary, am I misunderstanding something there? So that takes care of all of those. Was there anything else that I had lined up? Checking. Nope, got those, got that. So I think I'd be done. Alice says, I don't think it was battery life. Are you saying you don't think it was battery life that Gary was talking about? The subject we were talking about was about whether to sleep or hibernate a computer or turn it off. And this looked to me like his saying that we're better off to sleep for lunch and power off overnight. Well, on a battery-powered device, that's a little more obvious. So I'm thinking maybe this wasn't the document that he was wanting to refer me to. That's what I think probably happened. So I'd be interested to find out. All right. Well, that's all I've got. I'm a minute and 40 seconds early. I think I will go ahead and say goodbye then. Here's the email address. Oh, no, there is something else to go. There's channel comments. I didn't get to channel comments. Yes. Tony Wallow. On show 424, you asked if I swapped data cables, ports, extras. Yes. On old board, the one works great, because one of the issues he was having, that was the show that he put a comment on very recently, was about the show where he was here in person, live and in person, in color. And I didn't understand the comment that I showed yesterday. So if I go back and see that, he said everything was good, no problem. Yesterday I said, oh, okay, great. And it had to do with the question about swapping data cables, and he was having a problem with a particular drive. So I'm taking this to mean that he's that drive that he was having troubles with is no longer having troubles with. So that's great. Good news. Thank you for that follow-up. Rajan Man and Har. Regarding the video, fix Adobe Acrobat Reader DC, the operation failed because of Adobe Acrobat, whatever, and this gives instructions how to fix that. Normally, I would have replied to this comment towards the beginning of the show so that I can give him a link and he might watch the rest of the show. Now I'm going to be giving him a link to the end of the show. Hopefully he'll rewind. Rajan, if that's the right way to say your name. What we do around here is we're here 6 days a week, Monday through Friday, at 9 a.m. Pacific time for about half an hour. On Saturdays, it's about 2 hours, starting 11 a.m. Pacific time, including Zoom. And sometimes we remotely connect to people's computers, looking to answer questions of problems that people are having with computers. If we don't answer the questions, maybe we give ideas how to find the right answer. You can ask a question by sending an email to me at the address that's on the screen right now, or put a comment on any of my videos, or ask in the chat room. So that's it for this show. Have a great Thursday, everybody. Catch you later. Goodbye.